Hey there, planner friends, and welcome to a One Book July video. Oh my goodness, it is already July. I know it has been quite some time, but I can't resist a good One Book July, especially one that I was inadvertently already involved in way back in June, because that's the case. I watched a couple of the intro videos that some of the notable One Book July people, or notable, just super popular One Book July peeps have put out, and a lot of them were saying that they wanted to involve the bullet journal method, and of course that can be interpreted various, just many different ways from person to person. And for some it's like back to basics, for some it's like just being more efficient with their planning or something like that, or how to incorporate it into their system. And interestingly enough, I have already been trying to implement some of this knowledge that I gained from the book in my planning style. So I graduated with my bachelor's in English, woot woot, just a month ago, and since that time I've been in like a weird flux state. It's kind of been nebulous, really. I just don't know. The pull to enter like the private sector and to start making money is there. Of course, that wouldn't make me happy in the long run. Where my heart is truly in education and teaching, and that was bolstered by some of the observations I did during my final year or final semester. And so I've been kind of not knowing what to do about that. Last summer I kind of focused on trying to find a job that pertained to my field, to make my skills, I guess, more marketable, or to make my experience more marketable in the future. And I think that's kind of not feasible now, because I am going into the credential program, whoop whoop. I have firmly decided to accept that, to enroll, to pick my classes, because I don't want to get off the merry-go-round. I don't want to just stop and make money for a little bit, because I'll just wind up devolving into a mass of unhappy, unfulfilled blah. And I wouldn't want to force that on anyone, so we're not going to go there. We're going to enter the credential program. I'm going to get my credential in English, my single subject credential, and then I'm going to start teaching, which means my clinical, so my like interning, that starts in 2020. That's the first semester of 2020. So I really only got a semester. Now, I am not looking for another job currently because I have two jobs. Boop, 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 boop. But even though I'm not looking for a job doesn't mean that I can't work on my own time to kind of up my skills. And this is just a long-winded way for me to say that I wanted to focus on just bettering myself as a future teacher, gaining more knowledge, trying to find my niche in the subject, and then hopefully developing some lesson plans, some videos, some content surrounding that. And I was lost. I didn't know how to start that, honestly. I'm not a teacher. I've created lesson plans. I've created like flipped classroom videos. I've done screen capturing videos. I've done a lot of stuff, but it's not, I don't know. This was just a really extreme undertaking for me, and I didn't know how to approach it. And because of that, because of many people who suffer from like anxiety and just general issues with perfectionism and procrastination, because those are all tied in a very, very disconcerting just morass of crappiness. I couldn't start. I was immobilized. Well, I had purchased this book in, I don't know, February or something like that, but I devoted all of my time to school, to working the classes that I was in, which despite it being my last year at my undergrad, it was actually my first technical semester of the credential program because I can move those credits to the credential program, which is why I'll only be in it for a year rather than 2, so go team. And I threw myself into that, which means when I came out of it, I was a little lost. And I didn't get to any of the fun reading I wanted to do. Yeah, that's basically it. Any fun reading I wanted to do. So this sat like on my desk in a pile for months and months and months. I finally got to it in January. So I read through it. A lot of it was kind of no-brainer stuff, but sometimes it's the no-brainer stuff that kind of needs to be reiterated in a way that you wouldn't have formed it otherwise in order, I don't know, to fire that synapse and get you to think differently about your situation, I suppose. For me, the biggest takeaway that I think I took with this was kind of forward planning. I've never been a fan of forward planning. If you've watched my bullet journal videos last year, when I was all about the bullet journal, I did not do like a calendex or an index or anything like that at the start of my bullet journals because I just wouldn't use them. That's just plain and simple. And so when I got done with this book, I was also lagging with my Hobonichi. So this is my Hobonichi Weeks. It's the same planner I've been in all year. It's had some bumps and bruises along the way, specifically because last week I had water. I think it was residual water from my dog's collapsible bowl. I had this and the bowl in the same compartment in a backpack, like you do when you take a tiny backpack, I guess, and I paid for it dearly. But since it's had its water damage, it can no longer just sit around by itself. It needs that like pressure to close. So I put it back in a Foxy Fix. This is the Foxy Fix Rowena with a secretarial pocket, which I'm not sure if they're doing anymore. Looked at the, what was it, Spice Lavender? It's just grayish purple, and I was looking at the pocket options and they only had petal and crisscross, and crisscross is too bulky for me, I think. But anyways, so I moved back in here. It's the same one I've been in all year, but it was getting underutilized, and I have things marked off because I wanted to do a flip of this, which I will post here soon, like full year flip or half year flip. Goodness, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So after I was using it for all sorts of fun and just randomness during the school year, when it came to, I believe this is March, I just stopped. I didn't know why I was tracking my sleep. I didn't know what the end goal was. It's not like it was something I could I could change because I had a very set schedule with work and school. And believe me, I'm very thankful for having a set schedule because I never want to go back to that variable schedule life. It really does mess with your brain. And I was also tracking finances, which is why this little guy is here. It's to close it up. And I was jotting like really quick class notes because it was finals and everything. But after that, which was finals were in May, something like that, I stopped using it. So we go from April, which is some book notes that I had to read for a class. Some more book notes, or some, the Simply Gilded subscription, which I signed up for again, specifically for this month. And I liked the month that followed, but I skipped this most recent month because I wasn't about that. And this is where I picked up again. This is where I started reading the bullet journal. And I did a mental inventory of where I was in that period. It was a week after graduation. And it was all me trying to come to terms with all those ideas that I was talking about right then and there, which is where I wanted to do something more professional, do something that would make me a better candidate in the future, do something that would just make me a more knowledgeable teacher in the future. Like, you're never gonna know everything, but darn it, I'd at least like to have a good handle on things. And this is me trying to figure out if I was gonna branch out to like a bullet journal or a planner or something. And then I did a more visual, because I am a visual person, sort of what I want to do this summer. And I've actually been keeping up with this. But in order to implement these things, I had to focus on future planning. So this is where I took an ill-conceived dive. Oh yeah, that's more bullet journal method notes. Oh, I guess I finished it not in June, in May. So I wanted to set up a future log, set up monthly logs and a calendar page, and after that add my financial and bills section. I wanted to update my index. Threading like collections was also another takeaway that I really liked, but I don't think I'll use it. So this was me attempting to make my forward planning sort of spread. And to be honest, I started it like probably the 25th, so I was back cataloging, and I was just writing down like notable things. I think in the book, writer Carol talks about making it super brief, making it notable, or like things that you'll have to reference later, like only what matters. And I just didn't vibe with that. I was also trying to keep a habit tracker in some way. I was trying to do a gratitude log. I was trying to, I don't know. I guess I was trying to do too much maybe in one go after being bolstered by the book. So if you are going to do One Book July and you are going to be highly influenced by this book, that's fantastic. But remember to add your newness in small increments if you want it to stick. So when it came to June, I set it up again. This time I was a little more detailed with some habits I wanted to track. This time I filled out the calendar and was like, these are some important things to keep in mind. And again, it failed. I even stopped using my Hobonichi right here and then. I think maybe because I was demoralized by this section and still immobilized by that, like, I don't know what to do. This was about the time where I went running for a different planner, because that's what you do when you don't know how to conquer a thing, when you don't know how to start. And my planner that I ran to was an A5 size Filofax, and it was one that I had actually purchased way back in December. In fact, I have like a little lament, I think, in here about buying that and about my planner indecision. I have a few book notes. Yeah, I haven't even updated this. This is not happening. Well, I guess I don't have it here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Planner problems. I'm having second thoughts about my 2019 planner. This guy. I don't know why, except I have a final, and of course I'm avoiding it all by focusing on something trivial. Makes sense. I'm self-deprecating everywhere. But I saw someone's very professional, studious A5 ring planner setup, and it looked so appealing. She had a mix of blank paper and Filofax inserts. It looked so nice. Immediately, I began to justify a planner change to myself by saying, yeah, I will have the freedom to put in pages in and out. So much freedom. Huzzah! So I went on a manic search for an A5 Filofax and bid on one. I think we've all been in that situation, especially with in the planner community, where consumption and is very linked in with fitting into a specific subset or a little niche in that area. And the manic eBay or Facebook, if that's your choice, search. And then so I got that planner. I soothed it with like a $35 purchase. I bought a Filofax original and nude secondhand from someone, and at the time I was associating it with wanting to like irrational, like it was an irrational want. It was something that was going to be quelled by this planner. This was just a reaction to me like not liking or not wanting to focus on what needed to be focused with. It was me creating more work for myself so that I could feel like I'm doing something, but really I'm just spinning my wheels, not necessarily spinning them towards a goal. That's usually how it goes. But I have found I waited too long on not doing something I should have been doing this whole time. So I set up that A5 Filofax when I was having more issues with the with my I wanted to say this was a Filofax Weeks, with my Hobonichi Weeks, when I was just kind of sick and tired of the layout, because I had gone from doing something like super super rigid, like this, where I had my homework all set up to me. This was graduation week, and then I was like, well, I don't know. So I had all of these tantalizing notebooks looking at me. And yeah, this was the week where I was like, nope, I'm done. See here, just watched Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and contemplated my summer. Deep thoughts. So during that time, I decided to set it up, and I did. And this is not the Filofax A5 original. This is a Filofax Malden. And if you have been with me for a while, you know that I also have a personal size in this beautiful purple color. And it was my first, like, true planner. So it's a return to that in a way. What I was looking for is something like a big space for me to sprawl out and get out my thoughts, to work through some stuff, to do schoolwork, to do research, because I love research. I love databases and I love looking things up. I like asking questions and finding some answers. I'm not Ariel. And I don't really have the space here. I have the space to like jot down an idea, but I don't have the space to like fully explore it to its fullest. Oh my words. So I set this guy up, and I started doing what? Oh yeah, I've already put this in. This is for a different purpose. Yes, we'll come back to that. But, where did my weeklies go? I guess I took them out already. But I cut up some Tomoe River paper, and I was just doing a really basic bullet journal, super basic, back to basics, like Ryder Carroll type bullet journaling. And I think there exists some pictures on Instagram if you follow me. If you don't, I update it way more than I update my YouTube. And I went back to basics for I think about 3 weeks. I was just doing dots and signifiers like that, really simple stuff. I went all the way back to basics essentially for 3 weeks, tail end of May, beginning of June, where I was just using blank sheets of Tomoe River paper, a fountain pen, and a mild liner, and just planning as I go, like it's recommended in the book, where you don't set up your monthly, or rather you don't set up your weekly spreads ahead of time because you don't know what the week will bring essentially. You don't know what tasks will morph into bigger trees or something that you need to do. You're not sure, so why would you start giving yourself that very limited space? And that spoke to me as someone who is a little directionless, because it was true. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was still working because one of my jobs was still in session, and I'm still working now, but I've been sick for the past week with like a really tenacious cold. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So I did that for 3 weeks, then I realized something else was missing. It was the forward planning. And the thing that was holding me back was feeling like I could freely just like write down things that weren't necessarily 100% guaranteed, or like tentative plans or something like that. And it's because I was using a fountain pen and I didn't want to like cross it out. And with the inks that I like using, well, with most inks in general, highlighting it like I like to do, it wasn't going to work. So there was no way for me to differentiate what was a tentative plan and what became a concrete plan. So I switched my pens up. I pulled this that I got for Valentine's Day out, and I started using pencil a whole lot more. And I did that first in here, let's see, with my monthlies. And this is actually cut down A5 Kikuyo student planner. I bought it way like 2 years ago maybe. And beep. So I bought it 2 years ago and I hadn't used it yet. It was just taking up space, so I decided to finally just cut it down and punch it. And it's not too invasive. The rings aren't very invasive at all. And then I used some of the vellum that I had, and these are like Erin Condren tabs from 3 years ago. I added them. And these are like dashboards that I can put post-its when I need to plan something that's not concrete, but I still give myself the freedom to use pencil. And again, that's from switching up my pens, because even in here I was using a fountain pen, but I went back. These are both technically Style Fit. The Uniball Style Fit, which is one of my favorite pen systems. In this little one, I also keep a Coletto. I just don't have it with me right now because I was using it for journaling. But this is a Dr. Grip 4+1 wood that Tokyo Pen Shop, I believe, still has. And I've just mixed up the ink. My favorite ink is Jetstream Black. It's the one that comes with your Hobonichi pens if you're unfamiliar. And it is basically what I use for everything. When I want to highlight something or designate a color toward a particular activity, I use the other colors, but I have switched them out, which once was Acroball ink, I think is the one that the Dr. Grip series used. I use it for the Uni-Style Fit inks because I like them so much more. And they're archival quality. And in here I have, I think, orange, a pencil, and a Jetstream. So once I did that, I could move back to my Hobonichi for like personal planning. But this I've been using for like school work and notes and book notes, academic book notes. I have my Common Core here that I accidentally printed like a year and a half ago. And you can't throw that away. The earth will cry. So I've kept it here. I also have work stuff. I have a bunch of forms that I need to bring with me like every day for work whenever I'm scheduled. And I work at 2 different writing centers, so I have to have that on me. There's a pocket back here for my Nook low light. So this, I think, will be even more of an asset once the school year begins, because last semester I was able to purchase a new laptop, and I was downloading all of my articles onto that laptop and was using the note-taking feature that the touchscreen provides and the stylus that's built in. I was using that to make notes because I was feeling severely daunted by all of the paper I was consuming, in effect to just like print up and keep up with schoolwork, which was like 10 articles a week or something like that. So my methods of research have changed, but my need to stitch it all together to deeply think about something, come to a new conclusion, or change my preconceived ideas or whatever, or apply it to a larger issue, a global issue or something like that, that hasn't really changed. I'm still a paper girl at heart. So while I take copious notes on the articles themselves, I can't really stitch them together from my computer just yet. I'm not able to do that. So I still need my good old notebook, and it's good for taking class notes too, because one thing I really disliked about having my Hobonichi Weeks was that my work notes are just random and hard to reference. So are my class notes. Where are those? Here. Not all of them are great. Not all of them are stuff I'm going to reference later. Like this guy, I probably won't because it was for a very specific project. But there are some things that I would like to take out of here and, I don't know, archive it. And there are some things I want to refer back to frequently, but there are other things that are just not needed. And I feel like the flexibility that this provides already has made it a front runner for my school notebook going in the future. And I've toyed around with a bunch of different notebooks in the past. The Levenger notebook was the last one I did, but that one was, I still like it a lot, and a lot of my earlier college stuff is on there, but I think since this is able to blend so seamlessly with my work and with the research I'm doing right now and all of that fun stuff, this is going to continue to be the system that I use, because I can just roll up in a class with just this and my laptop and we're golden, because that's what school is now. It is increasingly digital, and I've had to adapt to that, being someone who really loves her pens and papers. So, why did I talk about all of this today in today's very, very long video? Well, it's because I've kind of already gone through One Book July just earlier. And I realized that there are some things that will work, some things that are adaptable to me and what I want to do, like future planning or future logging. It doesn't work for me in the traditional sense, or the method that is explored in writer Carroll's book. But that's not an end-all be-all. He even states that it's adaptable. So I found that utilizing my monthlies more and giving myself the freedom of using pencil a lot more, that's helpful. And just knowing that I need to consult my monthly before I set up a weekly, that's been a lot of help. Also, getting back into the habit of having blank spaces in my weekly spreads, and I think that goes along with not preemptively planning too far in advance. My 3-week experiment with just a pen and paper and planning that way with the simple signifiers, that taught me that some days will be like super crazy and some days won't, and that's fine. You need to be okay with the white space again. And I was getting to the point where I was not. These days are super crazy. And then when I'd have a week like, even this week, I felt bad because a lot of nothing going on. And that's not one way to measure my productivity. And productivity isn't the end-all be-all either. A lot of family time is. And I am spending a lot more time with my husband and just playing games and stuff like that. Games being Let's Go Pikachu, because games. So yeah, I've already sort of done my own One Book July previously, without knowing that it was going to be the object. And it was helpful. I think we all need to reflect at this point on our planning. It's no coincidence that a bunch of planners, a lot of academic planners happen to start in July. It's because we're getting those aches, those fleeting maybe pangs of want and desire for something different, maybe a way to reinvent ourselves or something, or just refocus on priorities. And I think starting with this book is a good way to recenter yourself, as frou-frou as that sounds, because again, a lot of it is common sense. A lot of it is stuff that you know already, but sometimes it just takes someone else acknowledging it or stating it that allows you to feel like it's acceptable to feel that way or something like that. So I would highly recommend the book. And I would highly recommend trying to implement it, but do it slowly, like maybe once a week. Try processing something or adding something into your routine. I am not doing one book. This has helped me get over the fact that I don't need to be in just one book. I can allow myself room to breathe and to think. And I will repurchase a Hobonichi Weeks next year, but this is definitely not my work planner, my school planner, my teacher planner. This is just a life planner. This is me. This is bills. This is class schedules. This is vacations. This is day trips. This is grocery shopping. This is reading for fun. This is just an account of my life. But it's not so much a plan. This is the plan. This is where I figure out what I'm going to work on next. This is how I figure out my researching schedule. this is where I just keep track of things. And I needed to figure that out. And it took, I guess, half the year really, because I was placating myself a little bit with, let's see, with these things, with my homework lists, because that is planning. That is forward planning on a very small scale. And it works when all you've got going on is school. But I'm starting to look beyond that to what I'm going to be doing this time next year. And this time next year, I will be a credentialed teacher, and it's going to be more than just my college classes. And that's scary. That's like becoming a real functioning adult, even though I've been an adult for decades. But yeah, allowing myself more than one book. It's taken a while because I used to feel like it had to be all in one place. And I would kind of like beat myself up if I felt like I needed to start something new, like I did in that really quick like jot that I did. And that's not the case. I think it's taken me a while to get here. I don't anticipate anything changing in the future. The beauty with both of these systems is that this one, it's already predated, so I can always come back to it if I fall off the wagon again, if I get so like entrenched in work or something like that and I'm just in here all the time. I can come back to this. That's fine. This is my adulting book, my adulting planner. And it's been a long time coming, I suppose. So that was my video. I may not be doing One Book July in a traditional sense, but I hope to get a few more videos up here before school starts again in August. So thank you so much for being here, for watching, for subscribing if you are, for liking if you did. If you like what you saw, and if you're interested in how I plan, I highly recommend you follow me on Instagram, or just, lurk on over there, because that's where I generally post more of my like weekly spreads and stuff like that. I might do a plan with me here soon. I'm trying to think how that might work with projects with like ideas that I kinda am not ready to share yet, and I'm not sure how that's gonna work, which is why you didn't see a deep dive into this planner just yet. This one may be my personal planner, but when it comes to my professional work, that is also kind of personal, private, maybe. So I'm trying to think of how I'm gonna do that sort of plan with me, so I might just have to work a little bit harder to know I'm gonna stop that. Don't plan for Instagram, don't plan for YouTube. I'm just gonna share what I can share, and I hope that's cool. And you do the same. Don't feel like you have to conform. Think for yourself. What other bumper stickers can I throw out there as some parting remarks? Just be awesome, be you, and thank you so much again for watching. And don't worry, my fountain pens are still being put to use. They're just in my journal. So, yeah. Have a wonderful One Book July, and I hope to see you again here soon. Bye. Also, this is an eagle.